Meet the Hammer, MC Hammer, the music phenomenon of the moment. He's got $10 million legs and stands to make $100 million by the end of 1990. To say he's hot is an understatement.
Bring the hammer!
This is signifying 5 million.
Can't touch this.
That was a month ago. Sales for MC Hammer's second album, Please Hammer Don't Hurt 'Em, are at the 7 million mark. It's been #1 on the Billboard pop charts for 19 weeks. These figures are staggering for any album, but for a rap record, they're unheard of.
So that's why a lot of times I say, no, I'm not a rapper, I'm an entertainer.
MC Hammer is 27 years old, and he's got it made. Almost single-handedly, he's turned rap into the mainstream pop of the 90s. What's surprising is not why he's become such a sensation, but how.
I recognize who MC Hammer is, and I know who Stan Burrell is.
Hammer was born Stanley Kirk Burrell, one of 8 kids. He and his family lived in East Oakland, a poor, depressed neighborhood, aptly described as inner city.
It's very, very tough to live in that type of an environment and survive.
It's even tougher when your parents split up and your house burns down, both of which happened to Hammer when he was just 5 years old.
We pray. Oh yeah, we pray. We got to pray just to make it today. I said we pray. Oh yeah, we...
A poor inner-city kid from a broken home. Not exactly a recipe for success. But even then, the kid could draw a crowd, which he did often by dancing outside the ballpark where the Oakland A's play. Charlie Finley, their former owner, remembers one day in particular.
After completing his dance, he recognized me as the owner of the ball club and walked over to me and he said, "Mr. Finley, could you take me into the game as your guest?" And I said, "Yes, I'd be glad to." And I got pretty well acquainted with the Hammer.
Finley hired the young kid to be the A's bat boy during their powerhouse years in the early 70s. It was Reggie Jackson who gave young Stanley his nickname after Hammerin' Hank Aaron. The transformation into MC Hammer had begun.
I thought that I wanted to be a professional baseball player, and I thought that the attention that they received and, you know, the things that came with being a star athlete was really the epitome.
Hammer might have made it as a ball player, except as his father Lewis tells it, for one fatal flaw.
I don't think he could hit the curveball.
With baseball no longer an option, Hammer was left with the grim reality of the ghetto. You grew up in Oakland, one of 8 kids, in a neighborhood that somebody just described to me that now looks like the streets of Beirut. Crime, drugs. Why don't you think you went that way? Were you ever tempted to go that way?
Was I ever tempted? I would say that anybody who grew up on my block had to be tempted.
What made you stop it and say, this is not what I'm going to do? And how close did you get?
Well, what made me stop was my mother. I knew how hard she worked to provide for us as a single parent, and I knew that it would break her heart to find out that one of her children was involved in any aspect in drugs.
Hammer said no to drugs and yes to the Navy. 2 years later, he returned to Oakland, added the MC, which stands for Master of Ceremonies, borrowed some money, and started Busted Records, selling his albums out of the trunk of his car. He couldn't sing and he couldn't play an instrument, but boy, could he dance. His first album, Let's Get It Started, spawned 3 top 10 singles. The transformation into MC Hammer was now complete.
These your costumes?
I guess they were put there for me to select if I want to wear any of those tonight. I see a candidate over there.
You do? What are you going to wear?
It seems to me that green sure would show up pretty nice.
Hammer! Hammer! I am! Hammer! They put me to mix, sing it! Louder, louder! Sing it, sing it!
My days with the Oakland A's of traveling around, learning how professionals do things, from interviews.
Can you talk about those days a little bit?
Oh, this is mine? Oh, okay, thank you. I mean, don't arigato. Just dealing with the press in general. You know, Why don't you reword your question and ask me what you really want to ask me? Next question. Dealing with the public. Okay. All right. That's it? Yeah. All right. It all kind of gave me a foundation.
The house that Hammer built includes cousins, Navy buddies, and neighborhood pals. His brother Chris is the tour director, and brother Louis is his manager. He's hit it big, and he's taken everyone along for the ride.
Can he keep getting bigger?
Oh, yes, he just started. I mean, it's, I think you have Hammer excitement. It's not Hammer mania yet.
Hammer time. We lift you up and we praise you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Clean.
I think he's a great inspiration for the young people.
PG, I think. It's positive rap.
If MC Hammer is anything, it's a savvy marketer. His music has a little something for everybody. The old melodies he uses pull in the parents. The rap lyrics he adds grab the kids. And because he's a religious man, there are no four-letter words in his act. His broad appeal makes hardcore rappers say,
once you are a pop success in rap, they call you a sellout.
Are you a rapper or not?
Well, in one unescapable aspect, yes, and that is the fact that I don't sing. You know, I'm not singing my lyrics. I'm rapping. But in every other aspect, the answer is no. I'm not a rapper. I entertain. I say that in not meaning any disrespect to other rappers or other rap artists, just saying if you want to continue to say what you is pure rap and so forth, okay, you have that. You can have that. You take the Chevrolet, I'll take the Mercedes. This is what I wear on stage normally. And when I don't wear this, I just wear the Porsche. What kind of deal are we talking about, Money Hall? 500, no tax, straight out the door.
the discipline Hammer learned in baseball and the military have been channeled into his performing life. Before this tour, he put his dancers through the same grueling routine he put himself through. 4 miles of running, 8 hours of dancing a day.
When I was out there running, I was thinking a lot of times about all my competitors. And their records be going through my mind. I'd say to myself, gotta go further, gotta run further. So I can do a better show.
And on that note, it's time to get it started. Come on! MC Hammer about to come! Your party button jumping! Your party button jumping! Your party button jumping! Your DJ was swinging!
It's a visual extravaganza designed to show off Hammer and his budding entertainment empire. All the groups touring with him are signed to his record label. And while the tour is great exposure, the main man's obsession with perfection and clean living, dancers are subjected to curfews and bed checks, have his detractors calling him a control freak.
So you find yourself being somewhat of a father on the tour, a strict dad?
I don't want to ever have to call somebody's mother or father and say, I got bad news for you. They found your daughter this morning dead on 10th Street about 4 o'clock. I think the first question from that parent mind would be, Hammer, I let my daughter go with you. What was she doing out at 4 o'clock in the morning on 10th Street? So therefore, I accept my responsibility, and if I get labeled a disciplinarian, then again, thank you.
Shake it up, Angie!
In the wee hours of the morning, Hammer relaxes by working. He studies videotapes of every performance.
Now, I'll tell you what I did right there. I missed.
You missed what?
Jump left and now jump right. That sure hurts, too. Know why? Because it looks good when everybody jumps left, including me, and jump right. But I missed it. Why did I miss it? Because I was looking at this girl in the front row too long.
Hammer and his posse are currently on a worldwide tour, which won't wind down until sometime in 1992. That means his 2-year-old daughter will be 4 before he gets back home.
I'm not overly sensitive, but she made a statement the other day that made me sensitive.
What did she say?
She said she needs 2 daddies because